So when you're solving an absolute value equation, then the first thing to do is get the absolute value by itself. So I'll subtract 8 from both sides. So that gives me the absolute value of 6x minus 3 equals 21. But the big thing that I tried to emphasize in my video to you on this stuff was that there's two cases when you're dealing with the absolute value. There's a positive case, which is just like writing this without the absolute value, 6x minus 3 equals 21. And then there's a negative case. If this is negative, you can bring it out of the absolute value by taking its opposite. Now notice I didn't just write 6x plus 3 equals 21. You don't just change the middle sign. You have to change both signs. So now we'll solve both equations, and we should get two different answers, and those two answers will be our solutions. Adding 3 to both sides here, I get x equals 4 as one solution. Over here, I'll subtract 3, which gives me 18 on the right-hand side, or x equals -3 as my solution here. So there's two solutions to this absolute value equation. And that's it, you're done. The big thing is, before you start doing this positive negative case stuff, you have to get the absolute value by itself. So that's what we did. We started by subtracting 8 from both sides. Okay. Any questions or thoughts on that one? Doing all right there? Let's try another one. And before I do that other one, let me give you kind of a little heads up, a little foreshadow. If I had the absolute value of A was equal to 0, are there two solutions here? Or is there only one number that I can put in here to make this work?
There's only one number.
Only one.
Yeah, there's only one. A equals 0. It's much different than if I had the absolute value of y equals 6. The absolute value of y equals 6. Well, then I could put in a positive 6 or a negative 6. So y could equal either of those. But when you have something equals 0 in absolute value, that's special. There's only going to be one solution for that. So let's just kind of keep that off to the side, but in the back of our minds for just a bit as we work on this next example. -7 times the absolute value of 2x minus 9 plus 18 equals 18. Okay. Like the previous one, we'll start out by subtracting 18 both sides. And that gives me -7 times the absolute value of 2x minus 9 equals 0. Okay. We still haven't isolated the absolute value. What do I have to do to get rid of this -7 here?
Divide it.
Divide it. So I'll divide both sides by -7. And that gives me the absolute value of 2x minus 9 equals 0. Because 0 divided by anything is still going to be 0. Now, that brings us back to mind of this special case over here. That is, there's only going to be one solution. The only solution is when what's in here equals 0. Or the only solution for us here is that 2x minus 9 has to be 0. There's only one solution in this special case. There you go. There's your only solution for this problem. X equals 9/2. How are we looking on that one? Doing okay? Now there's not going to be a lot of problems like this, but I just wanted to make you aware of it because there is at least one like that. Let's work with some absolute value inequalities. So first one will be this. Absolute value of -1 minus 2x is greater than 5. And let me see if I can't get that focused a little bit better. There. Just like the previous types of problems, there's two cases, a positive case and a negative case. The positive case is like writing this without the absolute value. It's just -1 minus 2x is greater than 5. When I give this kind of a problem in a face-to-face class, this is worth 2 points. The real money is over here, is getting the negative case. And for the negative case, you got to take the opposite of the whole thing over here. So let me just put that in parentheses. -1 minus 2x greater than 5. But I need to take the opposite of that. And that's the setup for your negative case. And we're just going to solve both of these. Now, when you solve absolute value greater than problems, their solution should look like this. You're going to have two intervals that face away from each other, here and here. So you should expect that. If your two inequalities face the same direction, both to the right or both to the left, there's a problem. It should give you something like this. Let's solve. I'll add 1 to both sides here and get -2x is greater than 6. Divide both sides by -2. Can anyone tell me what happens when I divide by -2?
Flip the sign. The sign.
Thank you, Grace. Flip the sign. Now over here, I'll distribute the negative. It gives me 1 plus 2x is greater than 5. Subtract 1 from both sides. Divide by 2. There you go. I'll graph this one in green. I'll graph this one in blue. And let's draw ourselves a nice little line here. For myself, when I graph these things, I typically put just, say, the numbers that I need. In this case, -3 and 2. What kind of a dot or solid or hollow am I going to use on -3?
A hollow dot.
Hollow dot. Arrow goes to the left. Hollow dot again, arrow to the right. The thing about an absolute value greater than case is it's this or this. Now I think that in WebAssign, there's a little symbol for union that you can put there. If you were to answer in intervals, it'd be -infinity to -3 union 2, infinity. I think you might also be able to get away with -infinity, -3 colon or semicolon 2, infinity. But look for that union symbol in the palette that you get when you're answering on WebAssign. So that's the absolute value greater than case. And again, emphasis on it should be two intervals that face away from each other. Any thoughts on this one? Be okay here? My emphasis on this is just so that you can try and be a little bit critical of your answers. If you get something where you've got two intervals that face towards each other, like if I had something like this and the other one faced that way, if they both face in the same direction, it's wrong. All right, there's something wrong there. So it gives you a chance to figure it out. Go back and check your work, but be critical of your answers. Absolute value of 3 minus 5x is less than or equal to 18. This is a less than case. When you've got the absolute value by itself and it's a less than case, your answers here should be an interval like this. It's one interval as opposed to stuff on the outside. It's just the interval in the middle. So that's what you should expect for an absolute value less than case. But let's put that aside for the moment and do our positive case and our negative case. 3 minus 5x is less than or equal to 18. That's your 2 points. The 4 points come from over here. And this is just my bias in grading. I'm really trying to emphasize that you need both cases, and in particular, this one is easy to forget. Are you okay with the setup here?
Mm-hmm.
I'll subtract 3 from both sides. Negative 5x is less than or equal to 15. Here, I got to distribute that negative 3 or that negative. Dividing both sides by negative 5. Someone want to tell me what I get here if I divide by negative 5?
So the answer would be x is greater than or equal to -3.
Perfect. Thank you. And Abby, I think I saw you try and answer as well. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Over here, I'll add 3 to both sides and get 5x is less than or equal to 21, which means x is less than or equal to 21 over 5. Now, I believe that you can answer this way, or you could also answer as 4.2. Be careful, though, if it's not a nice even, or if it's not a nice terminating decimal, you don't get 0.3333 forever. Be careful about answering with a decimal. You might be better off answering with a fraction. If you actually look at this, let me put in a -3 here and positive 4.2 here. On the one hand, I've got x is greater than or equal to -3. So it's going to be everything to the right. On the other hand, I've got x is less than or equal to 4.2. Let's see, I'm running out of colors here. Let's do this one. That's going to be everything starting here and going to the left. And the difference between the absolute value greater than case and this one is that you've got an and here. You're looking for where they overlap. And that's just that little section in the middle. So in interval notation, it'd be -3 to 4.2. Yay. Okay. 2 last special cases just to round things out so that you've got all of what you need. And that would be these. The absolute value of 2x minus 5 is less than or equal to -8. If you ever have a negative as part of an absolute value equation or inequality, stop and think. You might be able to save yourself a lot of time. And in this case, when you take the absolute value of a number, you get something which is positive or at worst 0. Can something which is positive be less than or equal to a -8?
No.
No. No solution. And that's it. You're done. In contrast, over here, this is still something positive or 0. Something positive or 0 is always going to be greater than or equal to -5. So always true. All real numbers. And more in line with what you might answer on WebAssign, be -infinity to infinity. Bonus points. Does anyone remember the fancy little symbol that I used for this?
It's like, is it an R with like a double line?
There you go. Beautiful. Script R. So
I have a question just to make sure I'm
Yeah,
like
Karina, please.
understanding this fully.
Yeah.
So is it because in the first case, it's because it's less than -8, which is impossible, and then in the second case, it's greater than, and that's why it's all real numbers?
exactly. Because no matter what number you take the absolute value of, you can put in any value of X that you want. When you take its absolute value, you're going to get something positive. A positive number is not going to be less than a negative number. So this can never happen. Whereas over here, a positive number or 0 is always going to be greater than or equal to -5. Now, if you're looking at this and going, oh my God, I don't know. I don't know which one it is, no solution or this. Here's what you can do. Dorina, give me your favorite number. Pick an easy one.
Okay, my favorite number is a lot longer, but
Oh, okay,
we'll
all right.
do 2.
2, perfect. Let's put in a 2 here. 2 times 2 is 4. -5 is -1. The absolute value of -1 is +1. Is +1 less than or equal to -8? No.
No, because it's a positive number.
Yeah, it's positive. So this one can't happen. This one's false. Now, if I put in a +2 over here, I get 4 plus 17 is 21. 21 is greater than -5. That works. So it's showing you or reminding you that this one is the no solution and this one is the all real numbers. Because, just any number you put in here won't work, and any one you put in here will work. Just out of curiosity, what was your favorite number?
It's 5,280.
Oh, does anyone recognize the significance of that? It helps if you're a runner.
That's the digits of my phone number.
A mile?
Number of feet in 1
Steps in
mile.
a mile?
Yes. Well done. Cool. All right. That'll do it here. Let me get you into groups and get you working, okay?